In this video, we are going to talk about ChatGPT, but specifically the new ChatGPT-4 that was just released. We're going to go over some of the improvements that was made from GPT 3.5 to what it couldn't do to what GPT-4 now can do. And since I am a content creator online, I will test some content and see if it passes the AI testers out there. But here is the kicker. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you this one secret mind-boggling thing that GPT-4 can do that we didn't think computers would be able to do this easily. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. Be sure to check out the rest of the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. We talk a lot about blogging and affiliate marketing and running your own business. If you'd like to join a community that we have where we talk about this, where you can get started from the very beginning and knowing exactly how to build a blog up to where it's making you money passively, be sure to check the first link down in the description. It's called oneblogaway.co. That's oneblogaway.co. Check it out. There's a free course if you do decide to join, and I'll see you on the inside. All right, so just to make sure that we are all on the same page, ChatGPT itself is based on the model that's called GPT 3.5, which we all know already. It's pretty amazing and it's pretty awesome. But recently, GPT-4 was released, and I just want to say, if you were worried about your jobs before, you might want to get your letter of resignation ready because GPT-4 is pretty insane. A lot of the information that we're getting is from a couple of blog posts that were made by OpenAI that you can find literally on their website, openai.com. There is a video that you can check out right here. You can watch the video whenever you want, to be honest. I'll just give you a couple of the highlights that I found pretty interesting in this video. Number one is the idea that GPT-4 now can take in a word limit of upwards of almost 8 times as more to what it could before. As you can see here, ChatGPT could do 3,000. GPT-4 can now do 25,000, which is pretty insane. But here's the real kicker as well, is that it can now read images. And there's been a lot of AI out there that can look at images and tell you what it is or what it can do, but it can actually add logic to the images that it looks at. So for example, in this one right here, it asks the question, based on looking on this image, what would happen if the strings were cut? And GPT-4 responds that the balloons will fly away. All right. If that's not, kind of mind boggling and blowing your mind just as much as it is blowing mine right now, that is some pretty insane computing that's available right there. Another interesting thing that the lady said in this video was that the training for GPT-4 was completed. It was this lady right here, was completed last August. That would have been August of 2022. Now, they have openly said that the content that GPT-4 has looked at stops in 2021, but the fact that the learning stopped at that certain point, it makes me wonder if there's newer things in it that might be a little more recent, in the AI, so that you can ask it more relevant questions. But it's probably still going to tell you about the whole 2021 thing. But that doesn't stop you from being able to feed it information that it can then refer to still give you a good answer on stuff. Well, here's something pretty interesting. So the bar exam to get your, to be able to be a lawyer, right? ChatGPT, when it did it, it measured 10th percentile. When it was taking care of this particular exam. GPT-4 is now in the 90th percentile. It now passed that test with flying colors. And then you look at the biology Olympiad, ChatGPT was in the 31st percentile. GPT-4 with Vision, I'll explain what Vision is later, within the 99th percentile. So it's now passing exams that humans can't pass. If you don't study, at least study a lot for it. Now, here's probably the most interesting part that makes me a little worried, but it says that we spent 6 months making GPT-4 safer and more aligned. It's 82% less likely to respond to requests for disallowed content and 40% more likely to produce factual responses than ChatGPT 3.5 in our internal evaluations. So, for example, you won't be able to say, hey, ChatGPT, make me a weapon, or something like that. And it's not going to tell you how to do that anymore. That's a good and a bad thing, because now they're putting in limitations, to what this AI can do. But then the question is, so who are you to say what my limitations are, right? So this is a tool that pretty much anybody can use. It costs like $20 just to get into it. And I would assume in the future it's going to be available for everybody, at some point. It is a lot of computing power that you would have to use to make sure that this was available for the masses. But companies like Microsoft, are ponying up the bill to get this kind of stuff done. Okay, so this is the first blog post. Let's go ahead and jump over to the second one that they had here, and let's see exactly what it has to say about the possibilities and the capabilities of ChatGPT-4 as well. Oh yeah, this is a good one right here I wanted to show off. These are the exam results. So if you look at the bottom here, these are showing all of the different types of exams that you would normally have to take to pass a class or to, pass a bar exam or anything like that. You can see here from this, you got the LSAT, you have the SAT, the math portion of it, U.S. history, art history, psychology. And you can see from this, you have the blue, which is how ChatGPT 3.5 was able to respond and pass these exams. If they pass these exams, what percentile they were scoring in. But then we have GPT-4 with no vision. That would be the light green. So look at how much better GPT-4 was able to pass or at least get a better score on these exams. And then when you did with vision, GPT-4 with vision, you were able to see just how much better they were able to pass some of these exams. This one right here, the semifinal 2020 US APO, it scored almost a perfect on the exam. Same thing with this GRE verbal, almost a perfect on the exam. Vision for in this instance means that it can actually look at images and figure out what those images are about. That's what the vision is. So without vision, it did excellent. With vision, it did outstanding, which is pretty amazing to see. So for GPT Vision, this is another thing that was pretty interesting. So there is a charger that looks like an old VGA cable that you would normally put in the back of an old school monitor, but they made it into like an Apple charger and it's plugged in. So it gave this image to GPT-4, and you can see some of the output that it's getting right here, saying panel 1 is a smartphone with a VGA connector, large blue 15-pin connector typically used for computer monitors. Panel 2 is a package of the Lightning cable adapter with a picture of the VGA connector on it, which I think is interesting. It knows that it's the Lightning cable adapter to make it look like it would work with an iPhone. Yeah, so a close-up of the VGA connector with a small Lightning connector used of charging iPhones and other Apple devices at the end. The humor in this image comes from the absurdity of plugging in a large, outdated VGA connector into a small, modern smartphone charging port. And yeah, so I mean, anyone could look at this and it would look a little strange, especially if you have any type of IT background or anything, but it can look at these images and tell you exactly what these images have going on with them. So one thing I did want to test is let's go ahead and jump into ChatGPT. And you see here, I'm using model GPT-4 right here at the top. So I'm just going to say, write me a blog post about how to replace a chain on a bike. All right, so it looks like it's finished now, and it wrote me a pretty decently long blog post. Let's see, it is almost 600 words. So it's not like super long. I could tell it to add more, but it just depends on how you're going to be using it. So just looking over it immediately, you kind of get the whole vibe that it's still kind of fluffy, based on looking at the content. A well-functioning bike chain is crucial for smooth, efficient cycling. Over time, wear and tear, yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. But it does give you the tools that you're going to need. It gives you the step-by-step guide as to what needs to be done in each one. I did find something interesting when it says clean the drivetrain. Now, you don't really need to do that when you're replacing the chain on a bike, but it says with the old chain removed, now is an excellent opportunity to clean your bike's drivetrain. So I find it interesting that it's throwing in this little extra step just to make sure that your bike continues to run well, even after you do replace the chain on it. So now, with that said, let's go ahead and copy it, and we're going to drop it into one of my favorite AI checking tools called OriginalityAI. I definitely recommend it if you are using ChatGPT or any type of AI content to create content, you do need to run it through tools like this just to make sure that it is, not easily detected by AI. So I'm going to go ahead and drop it up in here, and let's hit scan now and give it a second to run. OriginalityAI will also check for plagiarism as well, not just whether or not it's AI content or not, which is helpful. But usually the AI detection doesn't take very long. It's the plagiarism side of things that usually take a minute. But we'll go ahead and give this a second to find out what it is. All right, so OriginalityAI is finally complete. So what it does, it puts in red what it believes is AI, and then in green what it feels is original. And it's pretty much 50-50, 53-47. That's not bad. In the past, it would be almost a guaranteed, 90% or 95% on whether or not it was AI versus original content. So it is a little bit better. We won't spend a ton of time throwing a lot of articles on here. If you would like to see me test some more articles with OriginalityAI and GPT-4, just let me know down in the comments and we can create another video on that. Let's check over to plagiarism. Zero plagiarism. That's to be expected. AI content actually does an excellent job at writing stuff that is unique. All right, so here's the super secret thing that OpenAI and GPT-4 can do now that it couldn't do. So some of the real interesting things about this is right here. So it has some creativity, visual input, and longer context. So for example, explain a plot of Cinderella in a sentence where each word has to begin with the next letter in the alphabet from A to Z without repeating. And you see it came up with this pretty amazing little output here that is kind of crazy, but I mean, the fact that it can do it so quickly, usually, as a human, we'd have to think critically about this to almost make a poem that fits this, right? But obviously OpenAI and ChatGPT or GPT-4 can do this pretty easily. The visual impact of this. So what can you make with these ingredients? And it gives you a few of these things right here. And when you look at the output, there's many things that you can make with these ingredients. Some possibilities are pancakes, waffles, crepes, French toast, omelets, cakes, cupcakes. It can look at what's in this picture and tell you what it can do with the ingredients. That's like a next step, a next level that I don't think a lot of people were really thinking that the AI would be able to do so quickly. And then longer context as well. So for example, it asks about Rihanna and the Super Bowl. You put in the input that comes from the Wikipedia page for Rihanna, and for that it read that entire this isn't a short page, by the way. It read the entire page and then was able to give you a little bit of a synopsis of what exactly happened on that Super Bowl performance, saying that Rihanna was pregnant at the time while performing, and critically acclaimed, many of this kind of cool stuff. But anyway, I think GPT-4 is going to be a lot smarter than we expect it to be. And then as time goes on, 4.5, 5, 6, it's just going to end up getting bigger and bigger. I will say with a lot of these limitations, at the end of the day, I'm going to be honest with you, there's an old phrase that says marketers ruin everything. And that's exactly what's going on here. We've got this amazing tool and we have just, completely, put it through the paces, but it's still a computer. I believe it still can be gamed by a human if done right. So you could probably ask it the right combination of questions and it'll probably still give you some information that you probably shouldn't have. So anyway, be sure to check out the rest of the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. We talk a lot about blogging and affiliate marketing and running your own business. If you'd like to join the community that we have where we talk about this, where you can get started from the very beginning and knowing exactly how to build a blog up to where it's making you money passively, be sure to check the first link down in the description. It's called oneblogaway.co. That's oneblogaway.co. Check it out. There's a free course if you do decide to join, and I'll see you on the inside.